So okay. I think we are recording now, so we should be good to go there. I want to just check one other page here. I've got a couple different computers up, a tablet, and some other things. So that way I can just kind of I can try to stay on top of things here. Hopefully everybody had a really, really good weekend. I trust everybody did. I know the weather here in Ohio. We had a tornado just about 15 miles from my house in Troy, Ohio. If anybody saw that on the news, I think that was Saturday night. Actually, I was outside walking my dogs. It was just like a little misty rain. It was dark out, but I could see across the field. It was like a haze, a dark, really dark haze coming across the field. All of a sudden, the wind kicked up, rain poured, and I was stuck out in it. We got in. Dogs were real wet. My wife had to get a towel and dry them off a little bit. So, but I guess we're going to, after this week, we're going to get back to winter here in Ohio. So hopefully everybody's got their coffee. I got mine. And hopefully I can inspire you a little bit today. Hopefully we can inspire, and not only just inspire, but maybe motivate you. And what we're going to be talking about here today, really, let me find my, here we go. Really, I'm going to give you 3 ideas here and easy ways to maybe reach a large audience. And what I want to do is talk to you about thinking small. I kind of posted a few things. Over the weekend, I had some conversations with some other advocates, people within the water safety. One person who's been involved in water safety for an extremely long time, for probably 40 years or better, who wants to call it quits, who is extremely frustrated, who is extremely upset with the industry, the people, because the problem has existed for so long. And these are people that they have a strong message. They don't do it for the money. They're not in it for business. This is important to them. And so, in this little coffee break here, I really kind of want to talk about, because, some of the things, and the people that I have talked to who've left this industry, who've left water safety to advocate for water safety and have going someplace else because they feel like their message is more well received than getting a bunch of backlash from a bunch of other people. So, and they feel like they can make a difference doing something else or approaching it from a different angle. And so, and what I want to refer to this is, reaching, starting small and reaching a large audience without having to ask the world for help. And I refer to the unthinkable. And let me just kind of, I rewrote my LinkedIn profile, and I want to read that to you, because, we all have a story to tell, and it's how we tell our story and how we put it out there. And I put it this way. It says, no matter if you're in business or in life and you want to prevent the unthinkable, no matter what that is in your life, what that looks like. For me, I have multiple unthinkable things in my life. I could talk about so many different things. But anyways, if the unthinkable event happens, as it does, and it happens to all of us, if you live long enough, you will have one of these things that you are scared to death of that's going to happen, or it's going to hit extremely close to home. And so, the solution is very simple here, okay? And this is what I've been talking about for the last 2 or 3 weeks. And really, and I put a term to it, and I just said, let's start small. Let's start small. It starts with you. The problem is most people know the solution. And I believe they do. And the people that I talk to, just like this person and a few of these people I spoke to this weekend, they know the solution. They're doing it. They're doing it, except they let the big picture of the world and everybody else in it affect their mind, affect the way they do things. So, however, 99% of the people, and that's why I say most of the people out there don't understand how to implement this solution to turn an unthinkable situation, to turn that unthinkable thought or what has happened to them, turn that around, or even to be able to help others to prevent that. And so, one of the things I talk about is when we're committed to learning a solution to solve a particular problem, you really hold the key to unlock the power of this. And however, and it's not only that, but by showing up every day and lead others. And we all need a hand up, right? We all need a hand up in life. We need a hand up in business. We need a hand up in no matter what it is we're doing. There's not a person alive today on this planet that is where they are because they were not inspired to turn their personal unthinkable situation around. You know, the world and everyone's problems are so huge, and we're just one person. And so we cannot change them or their situations. However, when we learn a solution and we learn how to begin to think small and apply it from that standpoint, that, you know, your business, your life, your mission, whatever it is that you're doing, and you apply that to a combination, you have the combination that can change the world. You know, such as mine in this case. You know, there are power in numbers, as I always say. Okay, there's power in numbers. With the Kels Group and what I do in my podcast and the Kelsey Code, we continue to raise the bar, and that's my goal: to raise the bar, to deliver to the industry, to help them accomplish, you know, not only their goals but also our goals of saving 185,000 lives and saving over 1 million lives from non-fatal drownings. You know, and the way, you know, and many of you know my story, and I'm not going to go into the rest of the situation here, but you know what I want to do is leave you with here before I kind of jump into some of this. I want to start this with a story, and this is where I'm saying I'm hoping I can inspire you, and that this story, this is not my story. This is I listen and read a lot of books, and actually this is something I heard a long time ago, and I heard it again over the weekend. And this is a story that Zig Ziglar shares, and you know, and for everyone who's wanting to make a huge impact, and I believe if you're here, that's why you're here. You've got a mission, you've got a story, you've got something, you want to make a huge impact in the world. So what I want to do is I want to suggest to you to think small. And if you need to, start over and think small. We wake up each day and we have the opportunity to start over a new day. This is Monday. Okay, it's the start of a new week. So I want to challenge you to think small, to be able to prevent the unthinkable, whatever that is that it is that you're working to prevent. So let me tell you a story of a grandfather and a grandson. Okay, they were both walking along a beach one morning, and the grandfather, you know, was with his grandson on that beach, and the grandfather was picking up sand dollars. Okay, sand dollars that the tide and the surf had washed up, you know, on the beach, and he was picking them up and throwing them out into the ocean. And the grandson says, "Grandpa, why are you doing that?" He says, "You know, there's thousands of them out here. You know, what difference does it make if by throwing one of those sand dollars back in?" And the grandfather's answer is really simple. He says, "Well, you see, each one of those sand dollars is a living organism. They're alive. And if I do nothing, they will just lay here on the beach after the tide and the surf washes them up on the beach, and they will get baked by the sun. And when they get baked by the sun, they wither and they die. But, you know, to that one sand dollar, I made all the difference in the world." And so to be able to prevent the unthinkable, that's why I'm saying start small. The solution is really start small. You are just one person with one story, or maybe multiple stories, but you're just one person. And with a vision, but I'm sure that you have a vision to impact so many more than just one person. And you want to change the world, or change your little corner of the world to make it a better place, to make it a safer place. And so by doing that, you can affect one person at a time. You go out and change, tell your story to one person. Start small, think small. Tell that person your story to one person, and share your story every day with a new person every single day until your story reaches millions of people. And, you know, it's just like there's thousands of sand dollars on the beach. The grandfather gets it, and he teaches his grandson a very profound message that it starts small. It starts with just one. And your message starts with one. And so when we talk about the drowning epidemic and the numbers, you know, that's kind of where I want to go with this conversation. And, um, and realistically, it is real simple. And so, you know, what I want to do is I want to ask you, you know, that kind of a secret here is the unthinkable. And, you know, in my situation, and I talk about the unthinkable. Yeah, I've been divorced. I have, you know, poor relationships, toxic relationships. I've been bankrupt not once, but twice. I've lost a home. I mean, you know, all these things that I've done in my life, every one of those is an unthinkable situation. But, you know, once you figure a formula, once you understand the secret, you can always get back on top. You can always get back to where you are. So here's the thing, what I want to say. When that unthinkable situation happens, okay, you know, take a look at that. You know stories of unthinkables. You know your own stories and how to relate to that to somebody that you're helping. If you're a swim instructor or you're a business, you've got a product, whatever it is, and how you want to impact this community of other advocates or the business, and reach your goals around whatever that looks like. Start small, but think of it from a standpoint, how can you prevent the unthinkable? If it's a business, the last thing we want to see is somebody go out of business and not provide their solution to people that could save lives. The last thing, just like the conversation I was having with this gentleman, if he let all this stuff get to him, what's the unthinkable to him? He leaves. He takes his knowledge, he takes his years and decades worth of experience out on the front lines. He takes that with him and he leaves, never to share that with somebody else, that could be that one sand dollar that he makes all the difference in the world. And what is your unthinkable situation? I mean, some of us here may have lost loved ones. Some of us may have non-fatal drownings. Some of us may have never experienced that. But I think one thing is how to prevent. Last thing you want to do is not do your job well enough, not do something, and have an unthinkable situation happen. We don't want anybody to slip through the cracks, but we also, I think the biggest thing is an unthinkable situation for many of us would be regrets. I look at my own story when I left the water safety and my fundraising and my nonprofit, back in the, late 90s. And when I left that, the unthinkable was I stopped sharing my story. I then found other stories that are very, very similar to my daughter's drowning. Could I have, if I would have stayed doing what I was doing and affecting one sand dollar, one person at a time, each and every day, telling my story, going out there and finding somebody new to talk to, okay, every day, and repeat that every single day, then, would I have made a difference? Could that have made a difference? And maybe that person could have been a sand dollar that they now have a new leash on life, okay? And how can that motivate you? How can you use that to stay motivated with what it is that we do? Because people beat us down. People have opinions. Some of them don't like us. Some of us don't like what we're doing, and they want to beat us down, and they want to be negative, and everybody thinks they have the better, mousetrap. And, realistically, we all have our own individuality and our own individual mousetrap that can solve the solution. We just need to learn to work together. And by working together, we could have hundreds and thousands of people walking the beach, picking up thousands of those sand dollars and getting them all back in the water so we can make a difference in the world. That's what I'm talking about. So you start small. It starts with you. You need to get in touch with I feel you need to get in touch with your inner self. And, maybe it's a spiritual, maybe that's God, maybe it's something, and you need to ask. You need to ask for help, okay? Not be ashamed or not be afraid to ask for help. If you don't know something, ask somebody. If you don't know what to do, ask somebody. If you see somebody else doing something, ask them, how did you do that? How are you making an impact? I want to, put on your learner's cap, and we need to stop judging people for what, they're doing or what they're not doing. Everybody needs to do their little bit. So, the other thing is maybe slow down. I'm guilty, going way too fast, drinking way too much coffee, taking energy drinks. I feel like I've been up since like 5:30 this morning and been running 20 miles or 100 miles an hour, and it's only 9 o'clock. I've got 2 podcasts I'm recording today, not mine. I'm on, I just looked at my calendar. I actually have one here following this, and I have another one at 1 o'clock where I'm on other people's podcasts. Okay. We're sharing our story. We're sharing our unthinkable story. We're sharing our mission. We're sharing our platform. We're sharing that out and effectively hoping to reach more than just one person every day. Okay. But slow down and back up and get in touch and start small and question everything. In this case, question everything about you, question everything about your story, question everything and how you can relate to that. I want to tell you, I wasn't working with somebody. It was last night. It was on another Facebook group page, and this is an organization that claims that swimming saves lives. And this individual's having a problem, and so I get in touch with them and I reach out and kind of coach them through the situation. And I'm saying, I believe you know the solution to the problem. And she was talking about treading water. She was struggling teaching people how to tread water. My question, I kind of touched on a nerve there with her because she come back to me. She says, I've been in the water before I could walk. I never learned how to tread water. I don't understand why somebody wouldn't get that. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, here's a person who's coaching, who's teaching people, and they have no experience. And what I was trying to do was just challenge her to think small. Think, in other words, challenge her to look at her own situation. If she can, if she and she I don't believe that she doesn't know how to tread water. If you know how to swim, I believe most people know how to tread water, whether or not they do it properly. Because, but the question here is, if you can't teach them how to tread water, are you teaching them how to float? Because when a person treads water for so long, they get tired, and then what happens? They sink. And she took it as an offense when I turned around and I said, what would you do? Why would you want to give up on that? Why would you give up? I don't want you to have regrets, because if you give up on the goal to teaching these people how to tread water, what would happen? How would you feel if the unthinkable happens? And she took offense to that. And she said, so you're telling me if that somebody drowns, it would be my fault? And I said, here's what it is. I lost a daughter to a drowning. It was somebody's fault. It was my fault. It was the babysitter's fault, the lifeguard's fault. You better believe it. If somebody drowns and you don't do your due diligence and don't do it, people will say it's your fault. I mean, and if you can't handle that, then, sometimes, as what I do when I coach people, or I work with people, I don't tell them what they want to hear. It's not all the fluff. I tell them what they need to hear. And if that's the case, then, that I'm not saying that's the problem. I'm just saying that I think it leads to some of the things. The third thing here is to be in a state of what I refer to is create. Constantly be creating something. Always be creating your message. Always be creating and improving, and understand what is the outcome that you're trying to create. And reverse engineer that. We've been talking about creating your ideal contact, creating the ideal person, creating your platform, creating your message. So everything starts with a creation. And but you have to understand what's the outcome on the back end of that. What is it that you want to accomplish? And who are you going to help? We can't help everybody. Just like that grandfather walking on the beach, there's thousands of sand dollars on the beach. He's only going to reach one. He's only going to maybe make a difference in one of those, or maybe it's going to be 10 people that day. Maybe it's going to be 10 sand dollars. But the others, he's got to realize he can't save everyone. You can't get to everyone. And that's why I say think small and stay small. But by doing that, we can reach hundreds of millions of people. The other thing is, how will you help them? How are you going to help them? Are you going to coach them? I'm putting something together, working on an idea. It's non-existent, but here's something I want you to think about. Do you know the baby proofing industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry? But the drowning prevention or the water safety industry is only $100 million industry. Big difference. $1 billion, $100 million revenue. Boy, I tell you what, if this industry focused on revenue and was to generate $1 billion in revenue, do you think we can make a huge impact? I believe we could save a lot of people. We would have more money to dump into the problem. But here's the thing, okay? Most people we don't look at the revenue side of things. We don't look at that. That's important. Without revenue, it's just as important as oxygen, okay? Regardless of what your business or what it is that you do. And so, my big takeaways, and I believe each and every one of us here is a leader in their own right. You're leading a group of people. You're leading an organization. You're leading a swim school. You're leading people. You're out there putting people view you as a leader. And by doing that, whether or not you believe it or not, you carry a credential, and I would classify you as an expert in what it is that you're talking about, okay? So the big takeaway is we all have life lessons. What is the unthinkable situations that we've had happen? Go back up, slow down, think about those. What are the life lessons that you learned from all those unthinkable things that you make a list of, and then pull from that? And then the other thing is, how can we apply those to our mission here? Okay, how can I apply that? Even if it doesn't involve water safety or a drowning, it involves something that we can apply, how we can relate that to somebody that we're talking to. Okay, I believe everything happens in the conversation. The combination is real simple. It's 5 letters. It's CCCIP. And I always say everything happens after the first C. The first C or the first letter in the combination is create. The second one is connect. The third one is conversation. Many times it's a one-way conversation where we are having that conversation where we're putting out content. It's one way. It's me talking. So right now, this for the most part is a one-way conversation that I'm having with most of you here. Okay, you're listening to this and you're hearing me ramble on. All right, but the other part of this is, but I can invite you in and we can have a two-way conversation. We can learn and everything. And so, how, and like I said, just in order to go big, you've got to start small, because everybody, no matter who they are in life, they started by themselves. They started by themselves. They started with an idea. They started with a thought. And then they asked. They asked for help and they asked. Okay. And I just want you to understand that it all starts with you. It all starts there. And so, get in touch with your inner spirit, get in touch with your power, get in touch with that. And, the point here is to really, I can't, that's why I'm saying start small. And, by starting small, you don't have to ask the world for help, but you can start small. And because what you do, what you know and what you do does save lives. But we can go out and affect one life at a time. Okay. But we need to do that every single day, not just once a year. We need to make that measurable. We need to make that, memorable. And, but you do that and then repeat it again. If you do it first thing in the morning, you can do it again at lunch. You can do it again in the middle of the afternoon. You can do it again tonight. Now you're telling your story to 4 or 5 people every day. Okay. It's a ripple. Okay. Everybody knows throw a pond, throw a rock, throw a pond. Yeah. Throw a rock in a pond and it makes a ripple. It goes out. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So, hey guys, I got my coffee. I'm going to finish this up. It's, we've been on here for about 23, 24 minutes, something like that. So we'll try to keep this a little shorter. Appreciate everybody. Hope you have a great Monday. And let me see here. Yeah, Cheryl, I'm glad you get it. It's funny how when we hear something, we read something, a light bulb goes off sometimes. And, so keep up the good work, each and every one of you. I know a lot of you are out there talking about our organization. We're talking about the Kelsey Code. We're talking about these Facebook Lives. That's great. Let's keep that up, because, we can create an army of people that we can go out there and comb that beach looking for all those sand dollars. And in turn, we can save a lot of people. And that's what it is. That's what it is. But we have to create a plan. We have to create a system. We have to follow it to a T and then repeat that each and every day. Okay, guys, have a great Monday. I got to get ready for a podcast here in about 30 minutes. You guys are awesome. Keep up the good work. And we will see you next Monday. I'm going to be talking tomorrow, or not next Monday, tomorrow, Tuesday. I'm going to be talking about 2 boxes tomorrow. And the 2 boxes is, what we do and the business of what we do. And that sometimes we get tied up doing the things that are not very productive. And so I want to talk about that and see if we can break through that mold a little bit, because I'm guilty of that too. And I need to focus on that in my own life and business and what I do, because I get tied up into all the little things that take up all your time. And then we don't reach those individual sand dollars every day. So talk to you guys later. We will see you. Hasta luego, hasta mañana, whatever. That's the limit of my Spanish language. See you guys. Oops. I think I'm still here, aren't I not? That's what happens when you hit the wrong button.